Hi, it's Steph, and today I'm going to go over a list of perennials that you can add to your garden that will take your bloom show from late summer through the fall. Some of these you might not be aware of. Of the list of perennials that I'm going to share with you today, I actually have 5 varieties growing in my garden. So we will go through my yard and look at those 5 varieties first, and then we're going to take a trip to a local nursery where we can find the rest of the perennials on my list. Starting here with Rudbeckia. This is a really popular perennial for most people who have a perennial garden or a pollinator garden. This is a beautiful golden bloom that has a daisy-like appearance. There are a few popular varieties such as American Gold Rush and Goldstrum. Now the variety that I have in my garden, I'm not sure which of the two that it is because it was given to me, but this is a great plant that will start blooming now in my zone 6 in mid-August and will carry us through September. Sedums, and the most popular variety is the Autumn Joy Sedum, which I have a large grouping of right here. Now this sedum will emerge in spring in a tidy little clump, and it'll continue to grow through the summer and finally bloom in late summer, early fall. Now this variety is currently all budded up and getting ready to bloom, and the Autumn Joy Sedum will bloom in beautiful shades of pink, some darker pinks, lighter pinks, and then transitioning to mauve and bronze as we get deeper into the fall. Now there are some really popular varieties, the most popular being the Autumn Joy Sedum. And then there is also the Matrona, which is a very popular version of the Autumn Joy Sedum with dark stems. Anemones. And anemones, you can get different varieties that will bloom for you from July all the way through October. The variety that I have in my garden will bloom between the end of August and September, and it is called Rudbeckia. And you can see here that it's got this tufted green foliage, and the bloom spikes have just come up and are budded. Now, it's important to add perennials that bloom at different times in your garden so that you continually have flowers in bloom. In this bed here, I have a large drift of astilbe. You can see now that the astilbe is done, but now I have the anemones that will pick up the show. Pye Weed or Eupatorium, and the variety that I have growing in my garden is the Rugosa Chocolate, and this variety will bloom towards September, and currently it's just all leaved out with this beautiful dark foliage, and soon it will start budding up, and the blooms on this variety are puffs of white blooms, which should be really pretty. Now Pye Weed likes a full sun location and a slightly damp, moist soil, so this area should be perfect for this perennial. Some more beautiful varieties of the Pye Weed, and there is a variety called Little Pie, which is a dwarf variety. So if you don't want something that gets too tall that might potentially flop over, then the Little Pie might be a good option. It has the same coloring as the larger version with these really pretty clusters of light pink blooms. Alliums. Now these are another beautiful plant. The alliums come in different varieties. In the fall, you can plant a type of allium that is a bulb that will bloom for you in spring. And then you can find some perennial types that come in clumps, such as these, that will bloom for you in summer and through the fall. There are different varieties that bloom at different times. This one here is called Millennium, and it is currently blooming for me here in my zone 6 in August. It is a great pollinator magnet. In fact, there are bees all over these plants right now. I better be careful because I might even get stung. There is so much activity. But this one's great. And actually, let me show you the lavender bubbles that is getting ready to bloom next. And here is the Lavender Bubbles Allium. You can see that this one is a bit more tightly budded, and it is just starting to open up as we are in mid-August. So these here will bloom closer to September, which will extend my allium bloom show. So now I am going to take a ride over to a local nursery, and we are going to take a look at the rest of the perennials that I have on my list. I've arrived at the local to me wholesale nursery where I'm pretty sure we're going to find most of these other plants on my list, starting here with Lobelia or cardinal flower. Lobelia is actually a really tall and beautiful perennial flower that is really attractive to pollinators. In fact, I just saw a hummingbird trying to get a little bit of nectar just a few seconds ago. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of varieties of Lobelia. Lobelia is a perennial also known as cardinal flower, and it is a sun to part shade perennial. And let's see how tall it gets because they are fairly tall. They get to be 24 to 36 inches in height, and they like sun to part shade, and their bloom time is summer through fall. This Lobelia cardinalis has the red bloom with green foliage, and there is also a really pretty one with dark foliage. The dark foliage variety here is called Cardinal flower Queen Victoria. This Queen Victoria cardinal flower gets to be, let's see how tall this one is. 24 to 36 inches in height, and it is hardy in zones 3 through 9, or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And there is one other variety that has purple blue blooms. Let's take a look at that. And here is Lobelia syphilitica. And I might have said that incorrectly, but I will show you the label, and it's got a beautiful blue purple bloom. Here's the name of this variety of Lobelia. And this is also a late summer and fall blooming variety of cardinal flower. Agastache or Agastache, however you say it, these are another really wonderful pollinator attracting perennial, and these begin blooming in late summer and go through fall. There are 3 varieties here. Let's take a look at them. Agastache Blue Boa. This perennial blooms in summer and autumn, and it likes full sun, and it gets to be about 30 to 36 inches in height and hardy in zones 5 through 10, or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the great thing about this variety is that even when the blooms are past, okay, when these little blooms fall, the calyxes are still purple, so it will still look like the plant is in bloom even after the petals fall off. And this is a darker variety of purple Agastache. Blue Fortune is also a summer and autumn bloomer. These enjoy full sun in a well-draining soil, and this one also gets to be about 36 inches in height and hardy in zones 6 through 10. And Black Adder. So this one has a little bit deeper purple bloom, and also very tall summer and autumn bloomer. And this gets to be 24 to 36 inches in height. It likes full sun and hardy in zones 6 through 10, or down to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So these are another really beautiful late summer and fall blooming perennial. Toad lilies or Triceratops, and this variety here is called Autumn Glow, and it has really beautiful variegated foliage. It has some green in the center with yellow on the outer margins, and these small little purple speckled blooms here. Now there's lots of buds on these plants here, and toad lily will bloom from August through September, and most varieties are hardy in zones 5 through 9. Helenium. So for gorgeous fall color, you can't beat this plant. So it's a super easy native perennial, and it has these masses of pretty blooms that look like russet toned mini coneflowers. They also love sun. They're hardy in zones 3 through 9. And these warm tones of the coloring on these plants make them really pretty as a transitional plant into fall. The pollinators also love them, but because they are a bit tall at 3 to 4 feet, they might require a little bit of staking if you have a windy area where you plant them. You could also pinch them to keep them a bit shorter. Helenium comes in a couple of different varieties, the Siesta variety and in a variety called Mariachi Fuego. And Heliopsis, also known as false sunflower. This is a perennial version of sunflower in much smaller blooms, very reminiscent to, say, a daisy or even a Rudbeckia. They have a cone in the center, similar to a coneflower, and these really beautiful burnt sunset colors. This variety of Heliopsis is called Bleeding Heart. It's a false sunflower, and it blooms summer and fall. It is a full sun perennial. It gets to be 3 to 4 feet tall, and it needs about 12 to 15 inch spacing. It is hardy in zones 3 through 9, or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And this is an absolute beauty. The more dainty variety of Heliopsis has really small yellow blooms. And this one is called Heliopsis Asahi. And a bit taller variety that is more of a yellow bloom that looks a lot more like a Rudbeckia, but it has a yellow center, is this variety here called Summer Sun Heliopsis. And Chalone or Turtlehead, which actually gets its name because the blooms look like little turtle heads. So this one here is just in bud form, but you can see that it has really beautiful shiny green foliage, really dark green foliage. And this is a shade or part sun plant that likes soil a bit on the moist side. So if you have an area that has soil that stays a little more wet, this would be a great option. And it is a late summer and early fall blooming perennial. This variety here is called Hot Lips. Blooms summer and autumn. And it likes part shade. It gets to be 24 to 30 inches in height. And it says do not allow soil to dry out. Hardy in zones 3 through 9 or down to negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And goldenrod. So this is another late summer, early fall blooming perennial that is often confused with the weed ragweed that causes hay fever and sneezing. But this is a native perennial with these large spikes of golden yellow flowers that are really complementary to other perennials that bloom around the same time. This variety is called Saldago Fireworks Rough Goldenrod. It blooms late summer through fall. It has a golden yellow color. It likes full sun and moderate well-drained soil. It gets to be 3 to 4 feet tall, and it is hardy in zones 4 through 8. Asters. Asters also come in many different varieties. This particular one here is called Japanese Aster Blue Star. It is a perennial that blooms summer and autumn. Now this variety here likes full sun, and it blooms early summer through autumn. It gets to be about 15 inches in height, so it would be great for the front of the border. It likes to be well watered, and it is hardy in zones 5 through 9 or down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Has a really pretty, dainty, daisy-like flower. There's a native variety of aster called wood aster, and it has a dainty white bloom. Daisies. These here are Nippon daisies, more commonly known as the Montauk daisy. And if you currently grow Shasta daisies that bloom for you in your garden in summer and love the look of the daisy flower, this would be a great addition for you. These here are just now getting budded up and ready to bloom. They enjoy full sun and they bloom late summer through frost, and they grow to be 24 to 36 inches in height, and they get actually pretty large, so give them some space. But the Montauk daisy is a great late summer and fall blooming daisy flower. Russian sage, another really beautiful purple perennial with vertical interest, has these large spikes of purple blooms that will start in July here in my zone 6 and will go all the way through October. So this is a summer and fall blooming perennial. Now Russian sage comes in a few different varieties. There are some shorter varieties and some taller ones. Another thing that Russian sage prefers is a very well-draining soil that leans a bit dry and full sun. Most Russian sage varieties are hardy anywhere from a zone 4 or 5 through 9, and they are also a pollinator magnet. While at the nursery, I picked up a few perennials to add some fall color to my garden, and I'll share those with you in an upcoming video. I hope this video was helpful in identifying a couple of perennials that maybe you don't already grow in your garden that you could add for some late summer and fall color. If you watch my videos frequently and you get any value out of them, you find them helpful, educational, or entertaining, I would love it if you could hit the thumbs up button. It really helps my channel grow, and it'll help YouTube show my video to more people. Also, I noticed recently in my analytics that 80% of the viewers of my channel aren't yet subscribed. So if you watch my videos frequently and enjoy them, I would love it if you could join the channel and subscribe. It is free. The only thing that it does is it will notify you on your homepage when I post a new video. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.